how to bounce back fast when you have gotten off track with your plan. Now, this is the name of the game in my book, because again, my goal is not for you to lose some weight. It's for you to master your weight, to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. That's what I want for you. Now, it's important for you to understand that as soon as you choose that as a goal, that I want long-term success, I want to lose the weight, yes, but I want to keep it off more importantly. Once you extend that time frame, the most important thing you need to understand is that the key factor of being able to master your weight long-term is the ability to get back on track quickly, because there is no perfection down this path, right? Perfection is generally an illusion to begin with, but if we're going to do short-term diets, we're going to do water fasts, keto, keep ourselves in ketosis, intermittent fasting. These things have very kind of bright lines, where it's very obvious what you're going to do, and it's extreme, but in your mind, you're like, well, I'm going to do it until I lose the weight. So it's short-term. And so doing something short-term, yeah, we can push ourselves and be close to perfect, for a little while. However, once you start extending that time frame past a couple weeks to a couple months, certainly a couple years, perfection's off the menu. It's not even an option for you, So what really matters is that you have the ability to get back on track quickly. And so I make a big deal out of this because the first step of being able to get back on track quickly is to prepare yourself for when you make a mistake, because you're going to make a mistake. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of times when people are approaching weight loss with a diet mentality, they're not planning for any mistakes. They're planning that they're going to start on day one and be perfect until they get to their goal weight. They're not ready to deal with any setbacks. They have no strategies to deal with that. Okay. So the mindset is always the most important piece. And same thing here, that when you're going to start a plan, again, I hope you do it with a long-term focus. And if you do, it becomes very easy to recognize you're not going to be able to be perfect. There is no perfection long-term. And so what the real name of the game is being able to back on track quick. And so having that foundational knowledge of what you're going to do when you make a mistake is crucial for your success. And knowing that ahead of time also makes the mistake experience a whole different thing. Because if you think you're going to be perfect, I always use the metaphor of, most people try and lose weight as if it were a sprint. And so in a sprint, perfection is the only thing that can win the race. If you trip a little bit in a sprint, you're going to lose. So you have to recognize this is a marathon, and it is always a marathon, because I always ask the question, I know you want to lose the weight quickly, but how long do you want to keep it off for? And I know you want to keep it off forever. So let's set yourself up for long-term success by thinking long-term. And part of that is realizing that you're going to make mistakes. And when you do, how do I want to deal with them? And pre-strategizing that, so it doesn't just hit you out of the blue, right? Because most people are like, they're all in their plan, they're all in it until they're not, and then they're not in it at all. And it's that all or nothing mindset that's really going to mess you up more than almost anything else. So again, I always suggest, instead of being all or nothing, you want to be all or something. And that kind of opens the door to how do you bounce back quickly? Okay. So we did the first part. Let me make it explicit. The first part of being able to bounce back quickly is how you're perceiving this whole process, right? So that's what I've been talking about. So I've been talking about how to bounce back quickly this whole time, but let's get into the specific strategies as well. So to bounce back quickly, once again, we extend the time frame. It doesn't have to be perfect right away. Sometimes, let's just say ketosis. That's probably the most extreme plan, simply because as soon as you make a mistake, now you've got to wait another week to get back into ketosis. And so that's a great example, because it really is obvious what all the diets make us feel, that as soon as we make a mistake, it feels like we've kind of fallen. I use the metaphor of we're rolling a giant boulder up a hill when we diet. And at some point we get distracted, we make a mistake, whatever. And we kind of lose focus, and the boulder rolls over us and rolls all the way back down the hill again. And so now, not only do we have to walk back down, we got to start from the beginning and walk all the way up and push it all the way back up. And so that's how a lot of people experience diets. And so we want to eliminate that experience by realizing that it doesn't have to happen all at once. So there's so many benefits. I guess everything I'm saying is coming back to this long-term time frame, because once you start thinking long-term, it's not such a game of extremes. So if you make a mistake, you don't have to get right back into, again, ketosis to me is crazy as a way of living, as a diet personally, because I think it's so extreme. So anyways, though, it's like if you exception of ketosis, if you make a mistake on your plan, you don't have to get 100% back on track again. Okay. You can, I'll show you what I do. You know, my main number one strategy for getting back on track after I've screwed up, boop, boop, my water bottle, you know? So if I screw up, the first thing I'm doing, I'm saying, okay, well, what am I doing? Why I don't wish I didn't want to eat that. I don't want to do that again. Let me get some water. So I feel like I'm getting back on track. The water, it could be a cup of water. It's a signal. It's an anchor that I'm back on track. I'm back in the game. Right. Now you say, well, oh yeah, the water's going to make up for the cookies. No, that's not what it's there for. It's there as a point of reference, an anchor to say, okay, I made a mistake and now I'm back and now I'm on this track. And with that sort of mindset, you can fill in whatever you want. For me, it's water. It doesn't have to be water for you. It could be, I'm going to go for a walk. You know what? I'm just going to go to bed and start over tomorrow. It doesn't matter what it is. It's almost like a signal, some sort of ritual that you have prepared ahead of time that when I make a mistake with my eating, I can get back on track quickly by doing this, taking some water and saying, okay, you know what I mean? It's a line in the sand you're drawing. Say, okay, I made a mistake. No problem, you know, but now I'm back on track. Because what happens with most people, it's the all or nothing thing. You get off track and next thing you know, months have gone by, maybe years have gone by before you get back on track again. So it's not the binge, it's what happens afterwards. You see, and for most people, once they make a mistake with their eating, the afterwards is a long time. And that's where that's the game. You see, they'll be on track for a week and off track for 3 months. Well, you can't obviously get any results that way. So again, extending this time frame to long term and realizing that you want to nudge yourself consistently on the right path. It doesn't have to be you're 100% perfect and then you get off track and now you're not doing anything and now you got to get yourself back to 100% perfect again. You know, I always like to say, get used to living in the gray area. You don't have to be 100% perfect. Your weight's an average of your behaviors. And so there will always be times in your life when you're going to be perfect because you have the energy, the focus, the motivation, everything in life's working for you. But a lot of times life's working, kind of feeling like it's working against you and it's hard. And so in those situations, don't expect perfection out of yourself. Just get yourself somewhat on the track. So I guess that's kind of what I'm going to leave you with. So find what can you use? You know, for me, I already know the water thing's there. So if I make a mistake with my eating, I don't have to think about what I'm going to do. I just say, oh, okay, let me get to my water. You know, it's a pre-planned strategy that I know I can rely on. So what can you rely on? What's a signal you can give yourself when you make a mistake that's going to signify to your subconscious mind that, okay, we're back on track. Make it simple, make it easy, something you can do that, again, just kind of nudges you back in that right track as fast as possible. That's the secret to bouncing back quickly. And you're going to be amazed at how different it feels because it's a complete opposite experience of the all or nothing mindset. And getting out of that is so crucial to getting the results you want. All right. So take a moment or two and think to yourself, how can I bounce back quick when I make a mistake? Pre-plan for that. And then give it a shot and see how it makes you feel. It's one. And when you take this approach, I think you're going to enjoy it and you're going to get better results than you've ever gotten in your life. So I hope this helps you.